The Vaccine Injury Compensation Program is a no-fault compensation system that's been set up by the U.S. government to provide compensation to people who've been injured by vaccinations. Whether you qualify for the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program is based on a number of factors, including which vaccine you received, when you received it, where you received it, what your injury was, and what your symptoms were. The vaccines that are covered by the program are all those vaccinations that are recommended for routine administration in children and pregnant women. Some of the more common vaccinations that we see would include the influenza vaccine, Tdap vaccine or tetanus vaccine, the MMR, the HPV, varicella, the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, and some others. Some of the more notable vaccinations that are not covered by the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program include the COVID-19 vaccine, the RSV vaccine, shingles vaccine, and the pneumococcal polysaccharide vaccine. You do not need to prove medical negligence in the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. It's a no-fault system. So filing a claim in the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program is not the same as filing a lawsuit against a medical provider or even the vaccine administrator. There is no defendant in the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, so you're not suing a doctor or a hospital. The statute of limitations for filing a claim in the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program is 3 years from the date of your injury. Unfortunately, if you miss the deadline for filing a claim, in other words, the statute of limitations has run, it's been more than 3 years from the date of your injury, there are very, very few exceptions to that rule. You're most likely not going to be able to file a claim. However, I would encourage you always to contact an attorney to see what your options are. Typically, a claim that's filed in the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program can take between 1 to 3 years to resolve. And that depends on whether the government is disputing your case, whether you're able to reach some sort of agreement with the government, or whether the claim requires litigation. You do not need a lawyer to file a claim in the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. However, it's highly recommended that you consult with an attorney about your options and about filing a claim. First, attorney's fees are covered by the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. In other words, you will not have to pay your attorney any fees or costs associated with filing a case or pursuing compensation. And secondly, the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program is a unique area of law, and it helps to have an experienced attorney to help navigate the program and discuss your options with you. Generally, there are 3 types of compensation available in the program, and that would include pain and suffering, out-of-pocket medical expenses. So in other words, any medical bills that you had to pay that were not covered by insurance or could have been covered by insurance. And there's lost earnings or wages as well. And there's also future compensation. So if your injury requires long-term care or your injury has prevented you from returning to your job, there is compensation available for future damages as well. Generally speaking, compensation received through the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program is non-taxable, especially if we're discussing pain and suffering damages. However, I would always discuss any compensation that you receive through the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program with a qualified tax attorney or accountant. Attorney's fees are not taken out of any award or settlement through the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. At the end of your case, your attorney will submit his own petition and request compensation in the form of attorney's fees and costs. However, this determination of attorney's fees and costs has no impact on what compensation you receive or how much you receive. If you'd like to learn more about the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, you can get a free copy of my book called Vaccine Injuries, Understanding the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. All you have to do is text us VICP at 312-847-2428, and we'll ship you a free copy. If you want to learn more about CIRVA, we wrote a book on it, and you can get a free copy by texting us at 312-847-2428. Text us SIRVA, and we'll ship you a free copy. If you believe that you experienced a CIRVA injury or experiencing CIRVA symptoms and you want to learn more about the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program and your options, I strongly encourage you to reach out to us for a free consultation. You can contact us at 312-578-9501.